In a quiet meadow nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a tiny firefly named Flick. The meadow was a magical place, filled with tall grass, colorful flowers, and the soft hum of crickets at night. But Flick was different from the other fireflies. While his friends glowed brightly and danced in the night sky, Flick's light was dim and flickered weakly. He often felt shy and unsure of himself, hiding in the shadows while the others shone. One evening, as the fireflies gathered to begin their nightly dance, dark clouds rolled in. The wind howled, and the meadow grew cold. The fireflies huddled together, their lights flickering nervously. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed across the sky, and a bolt of lightning struck a tree near the river. The tree burst into flames, and the fire began to spread toward the meadow. The fireflies panicked, their lights blinking rapidly. "We have to warn the animals," cried one. But the storm was too fierce, and the fireflies were too scared to fly into the wind. Flick trembled, his dim light barely visible. But then he thought of the rabbits, the birds, and the frogs who lived in the meadow. They didn't know about the danger. Summoning all his courage, Flick fluttered his wings and rose into the air. "I'll go," he called out. Flick flew through the storm, his light flickering as the wind pushed him back. Raindrops pelted his wings, and the thunder roared in his ears. But he kept going, determined to reach the animals. He flew over the tall grass, past the river, and toward the burrows where the rabbits lived. "Wake up," he called, his voice barely audible over the storm. "There's a fire." The rabbits, startled by Flick's warning, quickly gathered their young and hopped out of their burrows. They followed Flick's faint light as he led them to safety. "Thank you, little firefly," said the eldest rabbit. "You saved us." Flick's heart swelled with pride, but he knew there was more to do. He turned and flew toward the birds' nests. Flick reached the trees where the birds slept. "Wake up," he called, his light flickering brighter now. The birds stirred, their feathers ruffled by the wind. When they saw the fire, they quickly roused their chicks and took to the sky. "Follow me," Flick called, leading them away from the flames. The birds chirped their thanks as they flew to safety. Next, Flick flew to the river where the frogs lived. The fire was spreading quickly, and the frogs were trapped on a small island in the middle of the river. "We can't swim against the current," croaked one frog. Flick thought for a moment, then had an idea. "Follow my light," he said, flying low over the water. The frogs leapt into the river, using Flick's light as a guide to swim to safety. By now, the fire had reached the edge of the meadow. Flick was exhausted, his light flickering weakly. But he knew he couldn't stop yet. He flew back to the other fireflies, who were still huddled together. "We have to work together," he said. "If we all shine as brightly as we can guide the animals to safety." The other fireflies hesitated, but then one by one, they joined Flick, their lights glowing brighter than ever. With the fireflies' combined light, the animals found their way to safety. The fire raged on, but the meadow's creatures were out of harm's way. As the storm began to subside, the fireflies gathered on a hill overlooking the meadow. Flick's light, once dim, now shone as brightly as the others. "You were so brave, Flick," said one firefly. "You saved us all." The next night, the meadow was calm once more. The fire had burned out, and the animals returned to their homes. Flick flew high above the meadow, his light shining brightly as he danced with the other fireflies. He was no longer the shy, dim firefly he once was. He had discovered his courage, and it had made him shine brighter than ever.